so you go around and take photos with essentially a Game Boy camera that you. Is it a Game Boy you've always had, or did you find? Did you?
Yeah. It's actually. My wife hates this, but I have, I don't know, probably like 4 Game Boys, 5 Game Boys.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I have 3, I think. I don't know why.
I don't know. It's like the one that I used to take pictures. Yeah, it's one that I've had since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I've always kind of been like a video game nerd.
Yeah.
And I've got an N64, Super Nintendo, Game Boys.
N64.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had like a Sega Game Gear when I was a kid.
Is that the really old Sega?
Yeah, it takes like 8 batteries. It's not like
it doesn't even run on like AC power.
No.
Oh, I think I do. Is it kind of chunky and black
it's like
and
black
has a
and like
big screen?
I don't know, like a 1.5 feet wide almost.
Yeah. It's like a sub.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, I think I used to have one of those. We had to tape the back on to keep the batteries from falling out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. But like, so you go around, take pictures. You kind of amass like a pretty big following, I'd say, from this, and you've been on TV for it,
dude. Yeah, so it's like I've always been into video games, video game culture.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as a creative person.
Yeah.
So I mean, like used to be, still am, not even used to be, but into photography.
Sure.
I've got a Nikon, some lenses, all of that stuff. And I was like in the process of I really wanted to get into black and white photography or even like film photography.
Sure.
And one way or the other, I just found this like internet cult following for the Game Boy camera.
Because I was wondering like where the idea even came from, like at first.
Dude, it's crazy. There is this like weird cult following for Game Boy cameras.
Specifically Game Boy.
Yeah. It's the weirdest thing. And so, a lot of people are just out there taking pictures with this Game Boy camera. And I was like, oh man, that's crazy. Because it was like, from the 90s. And I remember like hearing about it and like the Game Boy printer and all that stuff.
Yeah, they did have that. Do you have that with your camera now?
No, but I have some projects in the works, and I am on the hunt for one. Yeah. I'm always like crawling.
Are they
eBay.
hard to find?
They're not hard to find, but it's basically like a glorified receipt printer. So there's no ink, which is nice, but it's like a thermal printer.
Yeah.
And because they're so old, a lot of them, like the thermal head's worn out, and so the print is like super faded, or you can see like essentially scan lines where it like prints a line, prints a line, prints a line. So
yeah. So it's finding a good one is hard to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. They're like $30.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
So you just go around. Is there a specific? Because I have to imagine that shooting with a Game Boy like camera, like the pixelation and stuff. There's got to be some stuff that you can't shoot, or some stuff that like looks bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is tough. I mean, it's pretty crazy, but you can like kind of adjust the contrast and like, brightness on the Game Boy.
Wow.
So you can have a little leeway there, but there are times where I'll go out and shoot stuff, and then like half an hour later when I'm looking through it, I'm like, what am I looking at? I just took this picture, but like, what is this?
Yeah.